Why your success is a lie. It's time to confront a hard truth about modern success. For so many of us, our careers and lives are lived for an audience. We're on a digital stage, constantly posting, sharing, and waiting for the validation of likes and comments. We've been led to believe that success is a public performance, that if you're not loud, you're not winning. This is a lie. The highly successful people you admire didn't build their empires in public. They built them in private. What you see on social media is the highlight reel, the finished product, the grand performance. But what you don't see is the quiet discipline, the unseen grind, and the countless hours spent working when no one was watching. True success isn't shaped by what you show others. It's shaped by what you do quietly, when the only person keeping score is you. This isn't an attack on your ambition. It's a call to reevaluate your approach. Are you chasing applause, or are you building something that lasts? The people who win big aren't the ones addicted to public approval. They're the ones mastering their reactions, protecting their time, and quietly building real results. They don't need to talk about their progress because their actions speak for them. This audiobook is your guide to the hidden disciplines of the truly successful. We're going to pull back the curtain on the silent habits that separate the real winners from the temporary stars. If you're ready to stop performing and start building, this is where your transformation begins. Chapter 2. The Pause of Power. Mastering your reactions. People who are truly successful have a special ability. They can stay calm and in control even when chaos surrounds them. You have a choice in every situation. You can either react quickly and give away your power, or you can pause, stay grounded, and maintain control. This silent habit of mastering your reactions is one of the most powerful tools they practice. Imagine how most people live. Someone insults them and they rush to defend themselves. A person disagrees with them, and they argue for hours to prove their point. Someone questions their decisions and they feel the need to explain every reason behind what they did. This constant need to explain and defend yourself not only drains your energy but also eats away at your peace. Highly successful people don't live this way. They don't over-explain their feelings, nor do they jump into every argument. Instead, they quietly control their reactions, and that gives them a significant advantage that most people never develop. You've probably experienced the stress of over-explaining yourself. Think of a time when you felt misunderstood, and instead of letting it go, you kept talking, clarifying, and defending. The more you explained, the more frustrated you became and the less satisfied the other person was. That is what happens when emotions take control. But remember how strong you felt in moments when you stayed silent. You knew your truth and your direction and didn't feel the need to prove it to anyone. That silence was not weakness. It was power. The discipline of controlling your reactions is built one step at a time. It starts when you teach yourself not to react instantly. When someone pushes you, you pause. When someone criticizes you, you take a breath. When someone tries to make you angry, you resist the trap. This pause is where your power begins because it gives you the ability to respond with clarity instead of emotion. You can feel it in your body when you get triggered. Your heart rate rises, your voice wants to rush out, and your chest tightens. In that very moment, you have to notice and remind yourself, this is my test. Do I lose my power here, or do I stay in control? Successful people have mastered this moment. Successful people avoid over-explaining their emotions because they know not everyone deserves access to their inner world. Your emotions are private signals meant for you, not for others. If you share them too freely, you give others power to manipulate you. But if you hold them close and learn from them yourself, you remain strong. This doesn't mean you never communicate. It means you communicate with purpose, not desperation. Think of a leader who faces criticism. If he reacts emotionally every time, his team loses respect for him. But if he stays calm, listens, and responds only with what matters, the team sees strength. Every time you over-explain, you spend energy and burn mental fuel. You waste hours on arguments that could have been solved in minutes. You walk away tired, upset, and weaker than before. But when you control your reactions, you save that energy for your goals, work, and personal growth. Successful people protect their energy like it's gold, and they do so by staying silent when silence is stronger than words. This habit also builds respect. People notice when you don't react like everyone else, and when you stay calm under pressure. They see you as grounded, strong, and reliable, and they begin to trust you more. Respect is not earned by speaking more. It is earned by being in control. You can practice this habit every day with small moments. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of yelling, breathe and move on. When someone online annoys you, Resist the urge to comment. When someone in your life challenges you, stay calm and choose your words carefully instead of explaining every thought. Over time, this practice becomes who you are. This silent habit is also connected to a deeper psychology. It trains your brain to delay gratification. It teaches you to value long-term peace over short-term release. This is the same discipline you need to save money instead of spending it, to exercise instead of staying in bed, and to read a book instead of scrolling for hours. If you can control your emotions in a conversation, you can control your decisions in life. This doesn't mean you suppress emotions forever. It means you process them privately by journaling or talking to someone you truly trust. You don't throw them into every situation or weaken yourself by showing your cards too early. You keep your center strong and choose when to express yourself. Think about the people you admire most. They aren't the ones who argue endlessly or over-explain every detail. They are the ones who stay calm, focused, and disciplined under pressure. They are the ones who control their reactions, which is why they are trusted, followed, and remembered. If you want to build a life of success, you have to build this silent habit daily by practicing awareness of your emotions, pausing before you speak, and choosing silence when it is stronger. This habit may not make noise, but it creates strength inside you, and mastering yourself is the foundation of mastering your future. Success comes to the one who stays grounded, who chooses wisely, and who uses silence as a shield and calmness as a strength. Chapter 3. The Silent Builder. Working on your dreams without applause. When you decide to chase a dream, you have to understand that the early stages will be the quietest. This is the part most people don't like because it comes without recognition, applause, or anyone cheering for you. You might even feel invisible. But that quiet period is where the real foundation is built. Highly successful people know this, which is why they don't rush to show the world what they're working on. They keep their head down, put in the hours, and move forward without asking for validation. The danger of chasing early applause is that it gives you a false sense of progress. When you share your dream too soon and people cheer for you, your mind may feel as if you've already achieved something. That small hit of recognition can trick you into slowing down because it feels rewarding in the moment. But applause without results is empty. It cannot build a business, create mastery, or take you to success. The only thing that does it is consistent, quiet effort over time. Think about the psychology behind this. Human beings crave acceptance. We want people to recognize us, to say we're doing well, and to admire our steps. But the truth is, most people don't actually care about your dream in the way you think. Some may support you, some may criticize you, and some may ignore you altogether. If you tie your motivation to their reaction, you will become unstable. You will feel high when they approve and low when they don't. That's no way to build a lasting dream. Successful people detach from applause and anchor themselves in discipline and progress, not in external praise. Working quietly on your dream allows you to stay focused on the process. You don't waste energy explaining your plans to everyone or defending your choices. You just move forward step by step while others are distracted by talking. There is a deep power in silence. When you don't announce every detail, you protect your energy, keep your vision safe from negativity, and avoid the noise that pulls most people off track. You know the feeling of starting something new. You're excited and you want to tell everyone. But what happens? Some may laugh at the size of your dream, some may doubt you, and some may encourage you for a week and then forget. That roller coaster of reactions can discourage you if you depend on it. Instead, you must keep your dream inside and let your progress speak for itself. This is why so many people never finish what they start. They chase quick recognition instead of long-term progress. They want to be seen as successful before they've built success. But success is earned in the hours nobody sees. The long nights, the early mornings, the repetition, the practice, and the failures corrected in silence. Those are the moments that create extraordinary results. If you want to live this principle, you need to train yourself to enjoy the process more than the attention. Feel good about finishing a task even if no one notices. Take pride in learning a new skill even if no one compliments you. Celebrate quietly when you save money, improve your health, and gain knowledge. Build a habit of feeling satisfied within yourself instead of looking outward. As this self-satisfaction becomes your fuel, it keeps you moving when nobody else is watching. The truth is, applause is temporary. People cheer today and forget tomorrow. What remains is your discipline, your skills, and your results. When you put your head down and keep working, you develop a level of consistency that others can't compete with. While they are distracted by sharing every step, you are moving forward. While they seek validation, you are building real results. By the time the world notices, your foundation is already strong. This gives you an unshakable confidence because you know your strength is real. Think about the emotional difference between someone who works for applause and someone who works for progress. The first person feels good only when they are seen. They post their goals online, share every small win, and need constant feedback. But the second person feels good because they know they are getting better every day, measuring themselves against yesterday, not against other people. That person develops inner stability and cannot be shaken by silence. One of the greatest advantages of working quietly is that you reduce pressure. When you announce your dreams to the world too soon, you put yourself under unnecessary stress. People are watching, waiting, asking questions, and sometimes even hoping you fail. That pressure can drain your motivation, but when you keep it quiet, you remove that weight and give yourself space to make mistakes, to learn, and to adjust. This safe space is where discipline thrives. There's also a psychological freedom in keeping your dreams quiet. You don't have to explain every move or justify your timeline. You simply do the work, and when you do the work consistently, results become inevitable. The habit of quiet work is also about humility. Success isn't built by shouting your intentions. It's built by proving them. If you want to change your life, you have to stop needing recognition at the start. Recognition will come later when your actions have produced something real. But at the beginning, what you need most is discipline. Highly successful people don't mind if no one knows what they're working on or if the world ignores them. They are too busy improving, building, and moving forward. That is why they eventually stand out. When you finally reveal what you've been building, the impact is stronger because no one expected it. That surprise creates respect because people realize you weren't just talking, you were working. Your dream is fragile in the beginning. Protect it with silence and work on it with discipline. Don't seek applause too early because it can weaken your drive. Keep your focus on progress, and the quiet effort will make you stronger, more consistent, and more resilient. When the time comes, the success you've built will speak louder than any words ever could. If you want to be highly successful, embrace this silent habit. Work on your dreams quietly and build your foundation in silence. Let your results be the voice that speaks for you. Chapter 4. The Human Code. Observing patterns over promises. When you want to build a successful life, you have to realize that it isn't just about how hard you work. It's also about how wisely you make decisions. The people around you are constantly giving you signals about who they are through their actions. If you pay close attention, you'll notice patterns that repeat. The way someone treats time, the way they handle responsibility, the way they speak when no one is watching. All of these are signals. Highly successful people train themselves to observe these patterns and use them as a guide for making better decisions. They don't ignore what is right in front of them. They use human behavior as one of the most reliable tools for judgment. Most people get fooled by words. They listen to promises, believe explanations, and get carried away by charm. But words can deceive. Patterns of behavior don't lie. If someone repeatedly shows up late, that's their standard. If someone avoids responsibility every time, that's who they are. If someone complains more than they act, that's a habit. By learning to watch for patterns instead of falling for excuses, you give yourself a powerful advantage. You can protect yourself from disappointment and align yourself with people who truly add value. You've seen this in your own life. Think about someone who promised to change but didn't. At first, you believed their words, but after the 5th or 6th time, you realized the truth. Their pattern was stronger than their promise. Successful people don't wait that long. They notice the pattern early and adjust accordingly, which saves them years of wasted energy and painful mistakes. Observing patterns isn't about judging people harshly. It's about understanding reality. What people do consistently is far more important than what they do occasionally. A single kind act is nice, but if the overall pattern is selfishness, that's the truth of their character. On the other hand, a single mistake doesn't define a person if their overall pattern is reliability and consistency. When you learn to step back and study the bigger picture, you see people more clearly. This habit requires patience. You can't judge from one interaction. You have to give yourself time to watch and pay attention to how someone acts in different settings. How do they handle stress, treat those who can't benefit them, or behave when they think no one is looking? These are the situations where true patterns emerge. Highly successful people are like students of human behavior. They watch quietly, gather evidence, and make decisions based on repeated actions, not isolated moments. Think of how this applies in business. If you are hiring someone, you don't just listen to what they say in an interview. You check their history, look at their track record, and ask about their reliability. Why? Because past behavior is often the strongest indicator of future behavior. This principle applies everywhere, in friendships, in relationships, in partnerships, and in teamwork. Watching patterns will save you from misplaced trust and poor choices. There's also a deeper psychological benefit to this habit. When you observe patterns, you train yourself to slow down. You don't rush into decisions blindly, but rather you build the ability to pause, reflect, and weigh the evidence. This discipline helps you in every area of life. It teaches you to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively, and makes your choices stronger because they're based on observation, not just emotion. Look closely at people's financial habits. If someone always spends more than they earn, that is a pattern. If someone consistently avoids planning, that is a pattern. If someone prioritizes growth and invests in themselves regularly, that too is a pattern. These signals tell you where someone is headed. By paying attention, you learn who to trust with your time, your money, and your energy. Ignoring these signals often leads to regret. One mistake many people make is assuming that good intentions are enough. They say, "He didn't mean it that way," or "She's trying to do better." But intentions without patterns of action are empty. Success requires results, not just wishes. If you surround yourself with people who only have intentions but no consistent behavior to back it up, you will slow down your own growth. Successful people separate words from patterns and respect action more than promises. There is a quiet confidence that comes from understanding patterns. You no longer feel lost when people behave inconsistently. You don't get shocked when someone fails to follow through because you saw the signs early. This doesn't make you cold or unkind. It makes you wise. You still give people space to grow, but you don't build your decisions on hope alone. You base them on evidence, and that is maturity. You can apply this principle inward too. Observe your own patterns. What do you do when you are stressed? How do you spend your mornings? What choices repeat daily without you noticing? These habits are shaping your future whether you realize it or not. If you always procrastinate, that's a pattern that steals from your potential. But if you build patterns of discipline and persistence, they will carry you forward even when your motivation is low. Successful people study their own habits as carefully as they study others. They correct what weakens them and reinforce what strengthens them. Imagine how much more powerful your life becomes when you combine self-awareness with an awareness of others. You know your weaknesses, you build better habits, and at the same time you choose to surround yourself with people whose patterns align with growth. This creates an environment where progress becomes natural. You don't have to fight against resistance every day. You move forward with people who lift you, not drain you. Pay attention to small details. Notice how often someone keeps their word. Notice how they treat commitments and how they react when things go wrong. Notice how they behave when success comes their way. Patterns reveal character in ways that speeches never can. If you study long enough, you can predict outcomes with surprising accuracy. That doesn't mean you become cynical. It means you become prepared. There is freedom in knowing that people will often repeat themselves. You don't have to be caught off guard again and again. By recognizing patterns, you remove confusion from your relationships and decisions. You remove confusion from your relationships and decisions. One of the most important things to understand is that you cannot change someone's patterns unless they want to change themselves. Many people waste years trying to fix others, believing that if they just love enough, support enough, or forgive enough, the person will improve. But patterns show reality, and until a person chooses to break their own cycle, they will keep repeating it. Successful people don't get trapped in the illusion of potential. They deal with what is real. In your journey, you will face choices about who to trust, who to work with, and who to let into your life. Those choices will determine how fast you grow. If you surround yourself with people whose patterns are weak, unreliable, or destructive, your path will be harder. If you surround yourself with people whose patterns are disciplined, reliable, and strong, your journey will be smoother. This is not about perfection. It is about consistency. You don't need perfect people around you. You need people who have built patterns that align with growth. Take this principle seriously because it is one of the silent habits that separates success from struggle. The crowd reacts to charm, to words, to promises. The few who succeed react to evidence, to repeated actions, and to visible patterns. This habit protects them from false trust and wasted years. It guides them toward stronger partnerships and wiser decisions. The more you practice it, the sharper your instincts will become. You will begin to trust what you see more than what you hear. And with that, you will save yourself countless disappointments. You will avoid the traps that pull most people down. You will build a path with clarity, strength, and wisdom. Your life is shaped by decisions. Every decision is influenced by the people you listen to, the people you trust, and the people you allow near. By observing patterns, you give yourself the power to choose wisely. You protect your dream, your peace, and your progress. And over time, this habit becomes part of who you are. You walk into every situation with calm awareness. You don't rush. You don't get fooled. You don't waste energy. You simply watch, learn, and decide with strength. This is the way highly successful people move. They don't get carried away by appearances. They don't depend on empty words. They study patterns, make clear choices, and keep building forward. If you build this habit, you will notice a transformation. Your life will feel more stable. Your confidence will grow. Your results will come faster because you are no longer slowed down by poor judgment. Success is not just about hard work. It is also about wise choices. And wise choices are built on careful observation. Start today. Watch people. Watch yourself. Notice the pattern. Let those patterns guide you. This silent habit will protect your energy, sharpen your judgment, and move you closer to the life you want. Chapter 5. The Energy Thief. Avoiding meaningless conversations if you want to live a stronger life. One of the most important disciplines you can build is protecting your energy. Every single day you have a limited amount of mental focus, emotional strength, and physical drive. The mistake many people make is wasting that precious energy on conversations that do not matter. They talk for hours about topics that bring no growth, no direction, and no improvement. At the end of the day, they feel drained, yet nothing in their life has moved forward. Highly successful people understand this trap, which is why they avoid meaningless conversations every day. Meaningless conversations take many forms. It could be gossip about people who are not even in the room. It could be arguments about things that nobody can change. It could be debates on topics that do not affect your life in any way. It could even be endless small talk that goes nowhere. These conversations may feel harmless in the moment, but they chip away at your focus and consume the energy you could have used for your work, your learning, or your growth. You may not notice it immediately, but over weeks and months the cost becomes enormous. Think about how you feel after being pulled into a shallow discussion. Maybe a friend talks for an hour about issues that repeat every week without change. Or someone at work spends 30 minutes complaining about others. When the conversation ends, how do you feel? Tired, empty, frustrated? That's your mind and body telling you that your energy has been wasted. Now imagine if you let this happen every single day. That constant drain will slowly kill your ambition. Successful people choose differently. They protect their energy the way they protect their time. They know they can't afford to give it away to every conversation. When they notice a discussion turning meaningless, they remove themselves politely but firmly. They've learned that saying no to unproductive talk is saying yes to progress. This habit requires awareness. You have to train yourself to recognize which conversations are valuable and which aren't. Valuable conversations are those that build knowledge, strengthen relationships, solve problems, or inspire growth. Meaningless conversations are those that revolve around blame, gossip, envy, or repetition without resolution. If you begin to observe carefully, you'll quickly see the difference. There's also a psychology behind why meaningless conversations are so draining. They often revolve around negativity. When people gossip or complain, they're passing emotional weight onto you. They're transferring their frustration, insecurity, and boredom. If you absorb it, you carry that burden even after the conversation ends, which is why you feel heavy and restless afterwards. But when you choose conversations of value, you walk away feeling lighter, stronger, and inspired. Think of how this plays out in daily life. A colleague invites you to criticize another coworker. If you join, you may laugh for a moment, but deep down you know you've wasted your time and lowered your standard. Or a family member brings up the same argument again and again without a solution. If you engage, the cycle repeats and nothing improves. Successful people know better. They learn to end such cycles by refusing to add fuel. Instead, they steer conversations towards something constructive, or walk away with dignity. Protecting your energy also means protecting your focus. The human brain can't concentrate on deep work if it's constantly scattered by shallow talk. If you spend your morning in meaningless conversations, your focus has already been spent by the time you sit down to do real work. That's why so many people feel unmotivated even when they have time. Their energy was burned in conversations that gave them nothing in return. One powerful habit you can build is to ask yourself a simple question during conversations. Is this helping me or draining me? If it's helping, stay engaged. If it's draining, exit politely. At first, you may feel uncomfortable walking away or redirecting discussions, but with practice, it becomes natural. People will begin to respect your time because they realize you don't tolerate waste. This doesn't mean you become cold or antisocial. It means you choose quality over quantity. You can still connect with people deeply, but the connection should be built on meaningful exchange. What you avoid are the endless cycles of negativity, distraction, and shallow entertainment that lead nowhere. Think about the most successful people you know. They don't spend hours talking about others. They don't waste evenings in pointless debates. They choose conversations carefully. Often they spend more time listening than speaking, because listening allows them to gather knowledge without wasting energy. When they speak, it's intentional and impactful. Their words matter because they don't throw them into every meaningless exchange. There's also a connection between meaningless conversations and procrastination. Many people hide from their responsibilities by filling their day with chatter. Talking about problems feels easier than solving them, and discussing dreams feels easier than working toward them. This illusion of activity keeps them stuck. Successful people break this cycle by reducing unnecessary talk and putting that time into direct action. Notice how freeing it feels when you limit these conversations. Suddenly, you have more energy at the end of the day, feel less emotionally heavy, and find more time to work on your goals. You even begin to attract people who also value meaningful communication, and your circle improves. The discipline of avoiding meaningless conversations also builds self-respect. Every time you walk away from gossip or negativity, you prove to yourself that your time is valuable. Every time you choose silence over pointless chatter, you strengthen your self-control. Over time, this habit transforms you into someone people admire for their focus and strength. It's not always easy. There will be pressure to join in, and people will try to pull you into their complaints or drama. They may even criticize you for being quiet, but remember this: their need for meaningless talk is not your obligation. You are responsible for your energy, and you must guard it if you want to achieve success. You can practice this starting today. Notice the next time someone begins gossiping. Instead of joining, shift the topic or stay silent. Notice when a conversation repeats the same old complaints. Instead of giving the same replies, excuse yourself and move on. These small acts, repeated daily, build a powerful habit of energy protection. Over time, this silent habit will separate you from the average. While others drain themselves talking about things that don't matter, you will use your energy to build, to create, and to grow. Your life will begin to look different, and you will have more progress, more peace, and more strength. And you will have more progress, more peace, and more strength. Chapter 7. The Unseen Grind, Strengthening Discipline Through Private Work. Discipline is the backbone of success, and one of the strongest ways to build it is by quietly doing the hard tasks without feeling the need to announce them to the world. In today's culture, many people crave recognition for every step they take. They post their workouts online, share every small project, and talk endlessly about their goals instead of silently putting in the work. This habit weakens discipline because it shifts the focus from the task itself to the approval of others. True discipline grows when you take on difficult work and finish it without needing public validation. Think about the hard tasks in your life. They're usually the ones you resist and try to delay. These could be waking up early to work on a project, practicing skills when others are relaxing, or pushing through physical training when you're tired. These are the tasks that separate achievers from dreamers. When you complete them quietly, you build a deep inner strength because you prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort and keep promises to yourself even if no one is watching. Doing hard tasks in silence is powerful because it removes the temptation of external applause. If you only work hard when people notice, your discipline is shallow, lasting only as long as the spotlight shines. But when you grind through difficult work alone with no audience and no reward, you forge real character. You become the kind of person who doesn't depend on attention to stay committed. That quiet victory stays with you and pushes you to do more. People who chase attention for every task often burn out because they spend energy showing their work rather than doing it. They become addicted to recognition, and when it stops coming, so does their effort. Successful people avoid this trap by staying focused on the process, understanding that discipline is about mastery of self, not performance for others. There is a psychological dynamic at play here. When you share every task publicly, early praise can trick your brain into feeling like you've already achieved something, even if the real work isn't finished. As a result, motivation drops. But when you keep your effort private, your brain stays hungry. You know you can't celebrate until the results are real, and that hunger fuels consistency. Imagine this. You wake up early to study while everyone else sleeps. No one knows, no one claps, and no one cares. But day after day, you accumulate knowledge. Months later, your performance at work improves dramatically. People are surprised, but you are not. Because you know the hours you invested quietly built this growth. That is the power of silent hard work. Discipline also grows stronger when you learn to enjoy the grind itself. If you always need an audience, the grind feels empty. But when you learn to respect the quiet process, you begin to see beauty in repetition and find pride in finishing tasks no one noticed. That inner respect is the foundation of discipline. Another benefit of doing hard tasks privately is that it reduces unnecessary pressure. When you announce every challenge, you invite people's opinions. Some may doubt you and some may mock you if you struggle, which creates stress that can weaken your focus. But when you keep your efforts private, you remove that noise and give yourself space to fail, learn, and adjust without outside judgment. This safe space is where discipline thrives. You can begin practicing this habit today by choosing one hard task you usually avoid and completing it without telling anyone. Don't post about it. Don't announce it. Just notice how that private sense of accomplishment fuels you more than any applause. Over time, this practice will make your discipline stronger. You will become someone who doesn't need cheerleaders to push you forward, but instead pushes yourself because you have built the habit of completing hard tasks on your own. That kind of discipline is unshakable. In life, the most successful people are not always the loudest. They are often the ones who stayed quiet and consistent while everyone else was distracted. They were building while others were talking. They were strengthening themselves in silence. By the time the world noticed, their foundation was already unbreakable. Ask yourself this: are you doing hard tasks for growth or for attention? If it's for attention, you will stop when the attention fades. If it's for growth, you will continue no matter what. Highly disciplined people always choose growth. They do not announce every detail, but their results eventually show, and when they do, they are undeniable. This silent approach to discipline protects your motivation, because you conserve energy by staying focused inward. It also builds mental toughness because you handle setbacks with patience and keep moving forward without worrying about who is watching. The best part of this habit is how it shapes your identity. Each time you do a difficult task without sharing it, you reinforce the idea that you are disciplined, reliable, and strong. That identity becomes part of you. Over time, you no longer have to force yourself. It becomes natural to face hard work quietly. You don't need to prove discipline to anyone because it is a practice, not a performance. The real proof is in your results, not your announcements. Every successful person you admire has put in countless hours of hard, silent work. You may only see the outcome, but behind it is a mountain of tasks they did when no one was watching. So commit to this, do the hard tasks. Do them without fanfare, without validation, and without explaining. Just finish them. Each quiet victory will strengthen your discipline and make you stronger. Over time, your results will shine brighter than any words ever could. This is how you grow discipline into something unshakable. Not by announcing your struggles, but by embracing them privately, and not by seeking attention, but by staying committed when no one is watching. That is the silent habit of highly successful people. Chapter 8. The Shield of Silence. Staying calm in conflict. Conflict is something every person faces in life. Whether it's a disagreement at work, tension at home, or even a casual encounter with a stranger, most people react to conflict with anger, defensiveness, or loud arguments, feeling the need to raise their voice, prove their point, or win the battle of words. Yet, the ones who rise higher and remain respected are those who stay calm when conflict arises and allow silence to carry their strength. This isn't weakness. It's one of the most powerful habits highly successful people practice every day. When conflict erupts, emotions run hot, and the urge to respond quickly is strong. But quick reactions are often careless and escalate the problem instead of solving it. By choosing calmness, you create space to think clearly, measure your words, and avoid the damage that anger often causes. Calmness isn't about ignoring conflict. It's about handling it with clarity instead of chaos. Silence has its own kind of power. In conflict, people expect noise and reaction. When you choose silence instead of shouting, you disarm the situation. Silence creates discomfort for those who feed on drama, because they can't fight if you don't swing back. In that silence, you also protect your dignity, not giving away your control by lowering yourself into arguments that lead nowhere. Think of the last time you argued and later regretted your words. This happens because emotion overtakes reason. By practicing silence, you give yourself time to filter those emotions and allow reason to lead instead of your temper. This habit reduces regret, protects relationships, and preserves your peace. Highly successful people know that not every battle is worth fighting. Some conflicts are traps designed to steal your focus and energy. By remaining calm and silent, you refuse to waste yourself on battles that don't matter, saving your energy for things that actually shape your future. Every loud argument avoided is time and strength gained for meaningful progress. There's also a deep psychology here. Silence in conflict signals strength, not weakness. It shows that you aren't controlled by the noise around you, and it demonstrates patience, self-respect, and discipline. Others notice this and respect the person who doesn't lose control under pressure. This reputation builds trust and authority over time. Staying calm in conflict also protects your health. Anger, shouting, and heated exchanges release stress hormones that strain the body, affecting your heart and sleep. But when you remain calm, you avoid that internal chaos, breathe easier, think clearer, and recover faster. You can begin practicing this habit in small ways. When someone tries to provoke you, resist the urge to reply immediately. Pause and breathe. When someone raises their voice, keep yours steady. These moments may feel uncomfortable at first, but each one strengthens your ability to remain calm. This doesn't mean you never speak in a conflict. It means you choose the right moment. Instead of arguing in the heat of anger, you wait until emotions settle. You speak only when your words can bring clarity or resolution, not when they add fuel. In many cases, silence alone resolves the conflict. When the other person realizes you aren't engaging in the chaos, they often calm down too. Another reason silence works is because it prevents you from revealing too much. In conflict, people often expose their weaknesses by talking too much, defending, or justifying endlessly. The more they speak, the more ground they lose. But when you remain silent, you keep your strength hidden and don't give the other person more to use against you. This habit also trains humility, as staying calm and silent means you don't always need to prove yourself right or have the last word. You learn to let go of ego for the sake of peace, which keeps you from wasting time on battles that serve no purpose. In your daily life, notice the types of conflicts that arise. Many of them are small, like someone cutting you off in traffic or a minor disagreement. Most of these aren't worth your energy, and by staying calm and silent, you rise above them and keep your focus on what truly matters. Even in larger conflicts, silence gives you the advantage of observation. While others argue, you watch, you see patterns, you notice weaknesses, and you gather information. This knowledge helps you make better decisions later. Over time, this habit reshapes your character. You no longer react to every provocation. You no longer feel the need to fight every battle. You develop an inner calm that can't be easily disturbed. People notice this shift and begin to approach you differently, treating you with more care because they see that you are not easily moved. That presence alone can resolve conflicts before they even begin. The world is full of conflict, and it's easy to get lost in the noise. But you don't have to live that way. You can choose calmness. You can let silence do the work. You can show strength not by shouting, but by holding steady when others can't. That choice will protect your peace, preserve your energy, and build respect that lasts a lifetime. So when conflict comes, remember this silent habit. Stay calm. Hold your ground. Let silence speak louder than your anger ever could. That calmness isn't weakness. It's mastery. It's the mark of someone who understands that conflict is temporary, but dignity is forever. This is how highly successful people move through life with control, patience, and the quiet power of silence. Chapter 9. The Mind's Fortress. Building Resilience Against Chaos. There is one truth about life you cannot ignore. Chaos is guaranteed. The plans you make will be disrupted. The ground you stand on will shake, and the systems you depend on will collapse at the worst possible time. No matter how sharp your strategy, life will throw storms at you designed to break your focus, weaken your resolve, and turn intelligence into panic. This is where most people lose, not because they lacked skill or opportunity, but because they lacked the mental fortress to protect their strategy when the world turned against them. I know this pain well. I've watched plans I built with precision collapse in seconds because of events I couldn't control. I've seen victories turn into crushing defeats because my mind was too fragile to withstand the storm. When chaos hit, I spiraled, I lost clarity, and I made desperate decisions, abandoning the intelligence that had gotten me so far. My emotions took over, fear and anger clouding my vision until I became reckless. Each time the problem wasn't the obstacle, it was me not being prepared to stay strategic. When life went to war against me, that was when I understood your greatest advantage in any game isn't just your plan. It's your ability to stay unshaken when everything tries to pull you off course. People stay stuck because they think mental strength is something you are born with. They think resilience is a trait you either have or don't have, but mental fortitude is built like a fortress, brick by brick, experience by experience. It is not given, it is earned. Every storm you survive, every challenge you endure without crumbling, and every moment you choose clarity over chaos, you are adding another layer of armor to your mind. The problem is most people never build this fortress because they avoid discomfort, run from adversity, and let fear dictate their actions. So when the real storm comes, they have no walls to protect them, no foundation to stand on. Their mind becomes a house of cards, collapsing at the first gust of wind. The mental fortress of a strategist is built on 4 foundations: control, clarity, composure, and conviction. Control means mastering your reactions instead of letting panic rule you. Clarity means seeing truth in chaos, refusing to be blinded by fear or noise. Composure means holding your ground even when every instinct screams at you to run. And conviction means believing in your vision so deeply that no setback can make you abandon it. These are not abstract ideas. They are disciplines, choices you make every day, especially when life feels uncertain, painful, or unfair. You build them by walking through fire and refusing to let it burn away your focus. I remember one of the hardest trials of my life, a moment where everything I had built seemed to fall apart overnight. The pressure was crushing. Every voice around me said it was over. My own mind whispered that I was finished, that there was no way forward. In the past, I would have listened, panicked, made desperate moves, and destroyed whatever chance I had left. But this time I chose to be still. I breathed. I analyzed. I remembered that storms do not last forever, and that panic only feeds destruction. I built my fortress in real time, refusing to let chaos make my choices for me. Slowly, clarity returned. A new path emerged. I rebuilt what I had lost, stronger than before because my mind had survived the fire. Strategic thinking is not just about logic and foresight. It is about emotional mastery. It is about knowing that intelligence means nothing if you crumble under pressure. The best strategist in the world can lose everything if fear hijacks their mind. But once you have trained yourself to stay still in storms, to breathe through panic, and to think while others break, you become untouchable. Chaos stops being an enemy and becomes your proving ground, a battlefield where you stay sharp while others lose their minds and hand you victory. If you are still listening, ask yourself this: how easily does chaos shake you? How many times have you abandoned your plan, your vision, or your intelligence because fear, anger, or panic took control? Write it down. Decide today that you will start building your fortress brick by brick. Lean into discomfort instead of running from it. Practice holding clarity in the middle of storms because life will throw more of them at you, and the only question is whether you will stand or shatter. Share this with someone who feels like their mind is constantly under attack from life's chaos. Someone who needs to know that mental strength is not a gift. It is a weapon they can forge. Chapter 10. The Unbeatable Advantage. The Power of Patience. Final Call. Patience is one of the rarest qualities in a world that runs on speed. People want everything instantly. Instant recognition, instant money, and instant success. Yet if you look closely at the people who build lives of true achievement, you'll notice something different. They are willing to wait. They practice patience daily because they understand that bigger rewards require longer timelines. They aren't distracted by quick wins that fade fast. They keep their eyes on what matters most and train themselves to hold steady until the right moment arrives. Every day, you face a choice. Take the shortcut for a small, quick return or stay disciplined for a bigger outcome later. Most people grab the shortcut. They spend money instead of saving it. eat for comfort instead of health, and quit at the first sign of struggle. But here's the truth. Every shortcut comes with a hidden cost. Quick rewards often disappear as fast as they come, and sometimes they leave you worse off than before. The quiet discipline of patience, on the other hand, multiplies your results. It teaches you to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term gain. You can see this clearly in finances. A person who spends every extra dollar may feel good in the moment, but later struggles with stress and insecurity. Another person who saves and invests patiently may feel slower progress at first, but years later they stand on a foundation of wealth and stability. The same principle applies to your health. Skipping workouts feels good in the moment, but later your body pays the price. By practicing patience and showing up consistently, you build strength, energy, and longevity. Relationships also thrive on patience. Trust isn't built overnight. It grows slowly through consistent actions and time. People who practice patience daily don't demand loyalty instantly. They give space and allow the bond to strengthen over time. This patience creates relationships that last. Practicing patience also shapes your character by teaching you self-control and how to manage emotions. This training builds resilience and makes you stronger inside because you no longer break down when life doesn't move fast enough. The habit of patience must be built daily, not occasionally. You train yourself in little moments, such as waiting in line without frustration or listening fully before responding. Over time, you'll notice yourself becoming calmer and more focused. The human brain craves quick pleasure, but it can be trained. Each time you resist a quick temptation, you rewire your mind to value long-term gain. Successful people train their brains this way, knowing that the deep satisfaction of bigger victories is worth the wait. Patience is not passive. It is about working steadily, staying consistent, and trusting time to do its part. You may feel pressure seeing others move faster, but remember, what comes quickly often goes quickly. If you want bigger rewards, you must outlast the rush. One of the greatest benefits of patience is peace. Impatience breeds anxiety, but patience gives you calmness. This peace makes your journey less stressful and more sustainable. Over years, patience compounds like interest. The longer you wait while doing the right things, the bigger the reward grows. Highly successful people practice patience daily. They resist the pull of instant gratification and commit to long-term effort. They may not have results today, but they know results are coming, and that faith keeps them steady. The greatest rewards in life are not quick. They require time, dedication, and consistency. If you are willing to practice patience every single day, you set yourself apart. While others quit, you will still be standing. While others chase noise, you will create depth. So remind yourself each day, don't rush the process. Don't settle for quick satisfaction. Build the habit of patience in every area of life. Train yourself to wait longer and endure longer. Keep working quietly. Keep improving steadily, and let time do its part. The bigger rewards are waiting, but only for those who have the discipline to wait long enough. Chapter 11. The Long Game, Outsmarting Time. Itself. Most people think strategy is about winning quickly, being the one who gets results fastest, grabs the spotlight first, and seems to leap from idea to success overnight. But that's a lie. Real strategy has nothing to do with speed. Real strategy is about endurance. It's about thinking not in days or months, but in years, even decades. It's about making moves today that may not bear fruit until long after the impatient have burned out. The long game is where true mastery lives and where legends are made while the world chases quick wins and short-term applause. I used to despise waiting. I wanted proof of success now, and I wanted to see the payoff of my sacrifices immediately. Every time progress came slower than I hoped, I panicked and thought I was failing. I would tear up my plans, change direction, and chase something faster, thinking that speed meant progress. But every time I did that, I started over from zero. I watched people who moved slower than me, who seemed to do less, eventually climb past me. They were patient. They made moves that seemed small at the time, but built a foundation I couldn't compete with. It took me years of frustration to realize what they already knew. Time is the greatest force in any game. You can't rush it and you can't fight it, but you can learn to make it fight for you instead of against you. People stay stuck because they are addicted to immediacy. They can't tolerate planting seeds without seeing instant growth. They want every effort to pay off within days or weeks, and when it doesn't, they call it a failure. But strategy understands compounding. Strategy understands momentum. The smartest move is often invisible for a long time, because its true power is in how it stacks with every other smart move over time. While the impatient are chasing shortcuts, you are laying bricks that will one day make you unshakable. By the time they realize what you have built, it's too late for them to catch up. They burn their energy on speed, while you invest yours in permanence. The long game demands vision. It demands faith when results aren't visible. It demands the discipline to resist distractions that promise fast wins but lead to empty endings. The truth is, quick victories feel good, but they rarely last. They don't teach you resilience, build real skills, or create lasting power. Only a long, deliberate, patient strategy can do that. Think of the tallest trees in the world. They don't shoot up overnight. They spend years growing roots no one can see. Roots that make them impossible to topple when storms come. People see the height later and call it impressive. But the real work was done in silence, in patience, in time spent building what couldn't be seen yet. I remember when I first began to understand this principle. I was chasing results with desperation, leaping from project to project, never staying long enough to see anything through. One day, a mentor asked me, "Do you want to win for a season or for a lifetime?" That question shattered me. I realized all my actions were about proving myself quickly, winning attention and earning applause, while the people I admired were playing a completely different game. They weren't worried about who clapped today. They were worried about who would still be standing in 10 years. From that day on, I shifted my mindset. I stopped asking, "How do I win fast?" and started asking, "How do I build something that cannot be taken from me?" My decisions changed, my patience grew, and my results slowed down in the beginning. But when they came, they were solid, lasting, and untouchable. Playing the long game isn't glamorous. It requires you to watch others seem to pass you by, winning smaller battles while you prepare for the war. It demands you stay committed when nobody notices, when nobody believes in what you are building, and when it feels like nothing is working. But every day you keep laying those bricks and feeding the vision, you are stacking power that multiplies. One day you will wake up to a life that looks like an overnight success, but you will know the truth. It was 1,000 quiet days of patience and strategy that made it inevitable. Strategic thinkers don't let time intimidate them. They use time, they plan for the future while living in the present. They understand that one well-placed move today, repeated consistently, can change their entire life in 5 years. They are not chasing dopamine hits from instant wins. They are building legacies. They are crafting lives that last beyond luck, trends, and temporary applause. And because they refuse to play for the next moment, they end up owning the next decade. If you are still listening, ask yourself this: are you playing to look like a winner today? Or are you playing to truly win in the long run? How many choices in your life are made from impatience and the fear that you are falling behind, instead of the wisdom of investing in what will matter years from now? Write it down. Then make a decision that feels uncomfortable, but aligns with the long game. Plant a seed today that you may not see for years and protect it fiercely. Share this message with someone who keeps chasing fast wins and losing the bigger war. Subscribe if you are ready to stop living like time is your enemy and start mastering it. Playing the kind of game only the patient, the disciplined, and the strategic can win. Chapter 12. Building a mental fortress against chaos. There is one truth about life you cannot ignore. Chaos is guaranteed. The plans you make will be disrupted. The ground you stand on will shake, and the systems you depend on will collapse at the worst possible time. No matter how sharp your strategy, life will throw storms at you designed to break your focus, weaken your resolve, and turn intelligence into panic. This is where most people lose. Not because they lacked skill or opportunity, but because they lacked the mental fortress to protect their strategy when the world turned against them. I know this pain well. I've watched plans I built with precision collapse in seconds because of events I couldn't control. I've seen victories turn into crushing defeats because my mind was too fragile to withstand the storm. When chaos hit, I spiraled. I lost clarity and I made desperate decisions, abandoning the intelligence that had gotten me so far. My emotions took over, fear and anger clouding my vision until I became reckless. Each time the problem wasn't the obstacle. It was me not being prepared to stay strategic. When life went to war against me, that was when I understood your greatest advantage in any game isn't just your plan. It's your ability to stay unshaken when everything tries to pull you off course. People stay stuck because they think mental strength is something you are born with. They think resilience is a trait you either have or don't have. But mental fortitude is built like a fortress, brick by brick, experience by experience. It is not given. It is earned. Every storm you survive, every challenge you endure without crumbling, and every moment you choose clarity over chaos, you're adding another layer of armor to your mind. The problem is most people never build this fortress because they avoid discomfort, run from adversity, and let fear dictate their actions. So when the real storm comes, they have no walls to protect them, no foundation to stand on. Their mind becomes a house of cards, collapsing at the first gust of wind. The mental fortress of a strategist is built on 4 foundations: control, clarity, composure, and conviction. Control means mastering your reactions instead of letting panic rule you. Clarity means seeing truth in chaos, refusing to be blinded by fear or noise. Composure means holding your ground even when every instinct screams at you to run. And conviction means believing in your vision so deeply that no setback can make you abandon it. These are not abstract ideas. They are disciplines, choices you make every day. Especially when life feels uncertain, painful, or unfair, you build them by walking through fire and refusing to let it burn away your focus. I remember one of the hardest trials of my life, a moment where everything I had built seemed to fall apart overnight. The pressure was crushing. Every voice around me said it was over. My own mind whispered that I was finished, that there was no way forward. In the past, I would have listened, panicked, made desperate moves, and destroyed whatever chance I had left. But this time I chose to be still. I breathed. I analyzed. I remembered that storms do not last forever and that panic only feeds destruction. I built my fortress in real time, refusing to let chaos make my choices for me. Slowly, clarity returned. A new path emerged. I rebuilt what I had lost, stronger than before because my mind had survived the fire. Strategic thinking is not just about logic and foresight. It is about emotional mastery. It is about knowing that intelligence means nothing if you crumble under pressure. The best strategist in the world can lose everything if fear hijacks their mind. Everything if fear hijacks their mind. But once you have trained yourself to stay still in storms, to breathe through panic, and to think while others break, you become untouchable. Chaos stops being an enemy and becomes your proving ground, a battlefield where you stay sharp while others lose their minds and hand you victory. If you are still listening, ask yourself this: how easily does chaos shake you? How many times have you abandoned your plan, your vision, or your intelligence because fear, anger, or panic took control? Write it down. Decide today that you will start building your fortress brick by brick. Lean into discomfort instead of running from it. Practice holding clarity in the middle of storms because life will throw more of them at you, and the only question is whether you will stand or shatter. Share this with someone who feels like their mind is constantly under attack from life's chaos. Someone who needs to know that mental strength is not a gift. It is a weapon they can forge. Chapter 10. The Unbeatable Advantage. The Power of Patience. Final Call. Patience is one of the rarest qualities in a world that runs on speed. People want everything instantly. Instant recognition, instant money, and instant success. Yet if you look closely at the people who build lives of true achievement, you'll notice something different. They are willing to wait. They practice patience daily because they understand that bigger rewards require longer timelines. They aren't distracted by quick wins that fade fast. They keep their eyes on what matters most and train themselves to hold steady until the right moment arrives. Every day, you face a choice. Take the shortcut for a small, quick return or stay disciplined for a bigger outcome later. Most people grab the shortcut. They spend money instead of saving it, eat for comfort instead of health, and quit at the first sign of struggle. But here's the truth. Every shortcut comes with a hidden cost. Quick rewards often disappear as fast as they come, and sometimes they leave you worse off than before. The quiet discipline of patience, on the other hand, multiplies your results. It teaches you to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term gain. You can see this clearly in finances. A person who spends every extra dollar may feel good in the moment, but later struggles with stress and insecurity. Another person who saves and invests patiently may feel slower progress at first, but years later they stand on a foundation of wealth and stability. The same principle applies to your health. Skipping workouts feels good in the moment, but later your body pays the price. By practicing patience and showing up consistently, you build strength, energy, and longevity. Relationships also thrive on patience. Trust isn't built overnight. It grows slowly through consistent actions and time. People who practice patience daily don't demand loyalty instantly. They give space and allow the bond to strengthen over time. This patience creates relationships that last. Practicing patience also shapes your character by teaching you self-control and how to manage emotions. This training builds resilience and makes you stronger inside because you no longer break down when life doesn't move fast enough. The habit of patience must be built daily, not occasionally. You train yourself in little moments such as waiting in line without frustration or listening fully before responding. Over time, you'll notice yourself becoming calmer and more focused. The human brain craves quick pleasure, but it can be trained. Each time you resist a quick temptation, you rewire your mind to value long-term gain. Successful people train their brains this way, knowing that the deep satisfaction of bigger victories is worth the wait. Patience is not passive. It is about working steadily, staying consistent, and trusting time to do its part. You may feel pressure seeing others move faster, but remember, what comes quickly often goes quickly. If you want bigger rewards, you must outlast the rush. One of the greatest benefits of patience is peace. Impatience breeds anxiety, but patience gives you calmness. This peace makes your journey less stressful and more sustainable. Over years, patience compounds like interest. The longer you wait while doing the right things, the bigger the reward grows. Highly successful people practice patience daily. They resist the pull of instant gratification and commit to long-term effort. Chapter 13. Winning Without Fighting. The Art of Non-Confrontation. Most people think victory comes from clashing head-on with every obstacle, every opponent, and every challenge. They believe life is a war to be fought with endless battles, and that the only way to win is to overpower or outlast everything standing in their path. But true strategy isn't about constant conflict. The highest form of winning is not to fight harder. It is to position yourself so well and think so far ahead that you win without lifting your sword. When you learn this art, you stop bleeding energy on pointless wars and start making moves that end battles before they begin. I remember a time when I fought everything. I thought strength meant confronting every threat, proving myself in every skirmish, and standing my ground against every challenge. I won some fights and lost others, but all of them left me exhausted, bruised, and no closer to my ultimate goal. Then I met someone who lived differently. Problems that would have trapped me never even touched them. They avoided wars I thought were unavoidable and sidestepped traps I ran straight into. Their victories looked effortless, not because they were stronger, but because they were smarter. When I asked how they did it, they said, "I do not fight battles that do not matter. I win by making sure most battles never start." That truth shifted my entire view of life. People stay stuck because they think every challenge is worth their time. They fight for every opinion, every insult, and every minor obstacle, wasting years proving points that never move them forward. They let emotions drag them into wars that burn energy they could have spent building something real. The strategist knows better. They know not every battle needs to be fought. They understand that silence can be stronger than argument, that walking away can be more powerful than winning a pointless fight, and that the best way to defeat an opponent is often to make their attack irrelevant before it even lands. Winning without fighting is not cowardice. It is mastery. It is studying the board so well that you see the traps before they close, see the conflicts before they erupt, and see the leverage points that let you dismantle opposition without open war. It is about timing and redirection, letting others exhaust themselves on battles that lead nowhere while you conserve energy for the moments that truly matter. It is about staying invisible until you need to be undeniable, striking with such precision that no prolonged fight is necessary. Most importantly, it is about never letting pride dictate your battles. Pride will drag you into every fight just to prove you are not weak, but strategy will let you walk past them, focused on the wars that truly define your future. I remember a situation where I was ready to fight with everything I had. Someone had undermined me and blocked my path, and my instincts screamed to confront them. But for once I held back. I asked myself, if I win this fight, what changes? If I lose it, what do I lose? Is there another way? Instead of swinging blindly, I made a quieter move, reshaping the game from the shadows and shifting alliances. When I finally acted, the problem dissolved without a single clash. I had won without spilling a drop of blood, and the people who thought they had trapped me never saw it coming. Strategic thinkers understand that true power is not in the noise of constant battles. It is in control and restraint. It is in the ability to let small fights go, because you are focused on the ultimate war that defines your life. They know that every fight costs energy, time, and focus, and that these resources should only be spent where victory truly matters. The greatest victories are clean, quiet, and undeniable, leaving you stronger instead of drained and ready for the next challenge because you never let yourself be pulled into chaos that served no purpose. If you are still listening, ask yourself this: how many battles in your life are you fighting just to feed your ego? How many arguments, conflicts, or struggles are costing you time and focus without bringing you closer to your real goals? Write it down. Promise yourself that from now on, you will choose your battles with intelligence, not emotion. You will learn to step aside when the fight is meaningless and strike only when the war is worth winning. Share this with someone who is drowning in conflict because they do not know how to walk away. Subscribe if you are ready to master the art of winning without fighting, saving your strength for the moments that truly matter and making victories inevitable. Not because you outfought the world, but because you outsmarted it. Chapter 14. The Final Reset. Thinking like a Grandmaster. It's a common feeling, isn't it? That sensation of stumbling through life in the dark. Every decision feels like guesswork. Every challenge feels like a surprise attack. Every win feels like luck, and every failure feels like fate. The majority of people live this way their entire lives, convinced that the game of life is too chaotic to ever master. But the truth is, life is not chaos. It is a chessboard. While most people play like pawns, reacting to every move around them, there is another way. You can learn to think like a grandmaster, to see the game clearly, to move with intention, and to stop being a victim of circumstances. You can become the architect of your own outcomes. You can become the architect of your own outcomes. I know what it feels like to play blind. For years, my life was a series of random moves. I chased opportunities without considering where they would lead. I reacted to problems without understanding the consequences I was creating. I thought this was normal, that life was just about surviving whatever came my way. But the truth was a bitter pill to swallow. I was losing not because the world was against me, but because I was playing without a strategy. I was letting fear and impulse decide my future, one mistake at a time. The first step to changing my life wasn't about learning 100 tactics. It was about learning to think differently. It was about learning to stop moving like a pawn and start thinking like a player who sees the whole board. Resetting your mindset. The path to power people often get stuck because they believe that strategic thinking is only for geniuses or people in positions of power. They don't realize that every life is a game of strategy. Every relationship, every career choice, every goal you chase is a series of moves that either build your future or box you in. Without strategy, you're not really deciding your life. You're letting circumstances and other people make your moves for you. Resetting your mindset means taking back that power. It means slowing down before you act. It means asking not just what do I want right now, but what game am I really playing and how do I win it 5 moves from now? Thinking like a grandmaster doesn't require brilliance. It requires perspective. It requires stepping out of emotion long enough to see the patterns others miss. It requires the discipline to wait, to observe, and to plan instead of lunging at every opportunity. It requires the courage to stop moving blindly and start asking better questions such as, what is the bigger picture here? And what happens if I do nothing? Every great strategist knows that most mistakes are made in panic, and most victories are built in silence, through thought and patience, long before the decisive move is made. The unstoppable power of a changed mind. I remember the first time I shifted into this mindset. I was facing a challenge that felt impossible, one that had me cornered and surrounded by pressure. The old me would have flailed wildly, trying anything just to escape, but this time I stopped. I asked myself, what is really happening here? Who is pulling the strings? What happens if I wait instead of react? As I slowed down, the invisible game revealed itself. I saw moves I had missed before, opportunities disguised as threats, and leverage where I thought I was powerless. That one shift from panic to perspective turned a losing battle into a quiet victory, and it taught me that the greatest power in life isn't brute force, speed, or luck. It's strategic clarity. This is the reset you need right now. Stop playing life one desperate move at a time. Stop being dragged from crisis to crisis. Start thinking. Start stepping back. Start reading the game before you move another piece. Your life is not random. Every decision you make shapes the board. You have the ability to outmaneuver obstacles and to stop being surprised by problems you could have seen coming. But it all begins with a decision to stop playing like everyone else and to start thinking like the Grandmaster of your own life. Chapter 15. Final Call. Outsmarting the Impossible. There will come a day when you're faced with a challenge so massive, so overwhelming that every part of you wants to believe it can't be beaten. You'll feel small and powerless and hear voices inside and out, telling you that you're not smart enough, not lucky enough, or not strong enough to win this fight. That's when most people surrender. They call it destiny or fate and convince themselves that this mountain was never meant to be climbed. But the truth is both brutal and beautiful. There is no such thing as an unbeatable challenge. Every obstacle has a weakness, every problem has a key, and every game can be won by the one who refuses to stop thinking, planning, and moving until the impossible bends to their will. I've stood in front of those impossible walls before. I've known the taste of despair and the agony of thinking I was destined to lose no matter what I did. I've seen my plans crumble, my options vanish, and my hope flicker like a dying flame. But every time I reached that breaking point, I made a choice. I refused to accept that the game was unwinnable. I refused to believe the surface truth of the situation. I sat in the pain and the fear, and I thought. I dissected the problem from every angle and looked for patterns. Others were too emotional, too rushed, or too blind to see. And eventually I found cracks in the walls. I found moves nobody expected. I turned the impossible into an inevitable victory, not because I was the strongest, but because I was willing to think longer, deeper, and harder than anyone else. This is what most people never understand. You don't have to be a genius to outsmart challenges. You don't have to be born special. You simply have to be relentless. You have to refuse to accept the first no, the first failure, or the first defeat as final. You have to dig past the obvious, past the fear, and past the chaos to look for the opening every challenge hides. There is always an opening. The question isn't whether it exists. The question is whether you have the patience, the courage, and the strategic mind to find it, while others give up and call it fate. Life isn't a fair game. It won't hand you easy victories. It won't slow down to let you catch your breath. It will throw storms, betrayals, closed doors, and endless noise in your path. Most people lose because they let the game control them. They react. They panic. They let fear decide their next move. But you are not most people. You are not here to drift, to be a pawn in someone else's play, or to let obstacles dictate who you become. You are here to outthink the chaos. You are here to rise above reaction and step into intention. You are here to learn the patterns of every problem, to see moves others are blind to, and to keep playing long after everyone else has quit. That is what makes you unstoppable. That is what makes you a strategist, not just a survivor. If you are still listening to this final call, it means something inside you is hungry for more than the life you have now. You are tired of being reactive. You are tired of being surprised, outmaneuvered, and trapped. You want control. You want clarity. You want to win, not just once, not just today, but for the rest of your life. This is your moment. This is the turning point where you decide that you will no longer live as a piece being moved by the game. You will be the one who plays it, who masters it, who bends it until it serves you. Take a deep breath right now and write down one decision you have been delaying, one challenge you have been avoiding, or one part of your life where you have been letting chaos win. And promise yourself this: you will not act blindly anymore. You will think. You will plan. You will adapt. You will play the long game. You will read the invisible patterns. You will hold your silence until it is time to strike. You will build your mental fortress. You will win not because life became easy, but because you became strategic. Share this message with someone who is standing in front of their own impossible wall. Remind them that every challenge has a weakness, every game can be won, and every victory begins with the courage to think differently. Subscribe if you are ready to live as a strategist, not a pawn, to make every move deliberate, every decision powerful, and every challenge just another puzzle waiting to be solved. This is your final call. Stop moving blindly. Start thinking brilliantly. Outsmart the impossible and claim the life that was always meant to be yours. And claim the life that was always meant to be yours.